All right, y'all. What's up? It's a very impromptu, early in the morning video. Um, I am Randall Beatley, and this is UnHinged. We're gonna recap and review WrestleMania, at least for myself. Not gonna get very, unhinged here and not really debate, but I'm just gonna review my thoughts on WrestleMania. And I'm sure we'll get an episode of Off the Rails. Um, with everybody else's views and um, review and thoughts on WrestleMania 34 that just ended about 40 minutes ago. So we're not going to cover the pre-show because I didn't watch it. We're going to cover the actual show of WrestleMania, the actual shows from 7 to 12, those 5 hours. We're going to relive those moments. We start with the IC Championship match, which, in my opinion, my thoughts predicting the show was that this would be match of the night. And it didn't disappoint. It did pretty good. We saw some action. Finn came out with the rainbow attire, and I guess moving to him being a more feminine, more, I guess, homosexual character. Not saying it's a good or a bad thing, depending on how it actually, if it helps or hurts his career, we'll see. Not the best of matches, I would say. I said it definitely brought the adrenaline and the energy to the show. And I'll actually say that the beginning of the card was a lot better than the ending of the show. But we have a new IC champion, which was Rollins. As he continues to probably have one of the better years of his career, if not one of the best years of any superstar on the roster. As he continues 2018, hopefully that leads to bigger opportunities for the end of this year with the Universal Champion. Next, we had the SmackDown Women's Championship match with Charlotte and Asuka, in which I thought was a very entertaining match. And really went back and forth. Flair ends Asuka's streak, retaining the title. I expected a cash in. I was disappointed we didn't get one. So it'd be interesting to see where the cash in of Carmella's Money in the Bank will be used, or if she doesn't use it at all, as we have about 2 months till Money in the Bank again. So you really, if you don't cash it in within the next month leading up to Backlash, or the 3 weeks after Backlash leading to Money in the Bank, you really squander this opportunity. Maybe 2 months from now she'll still be holding it, maybe, and they say if you don't do it at so and so time, if you can't cash it in before then well, you squander that opportunity. We'll see where that begins. Charlotte retains. Again, another good match to start the show. Then you get the Fatal 4-Way for the United States Championship. And just really, to me, this match didn't impress me all that much. Again, Fatal 4s are hard to truly do, and none of these wrestlers are truly, in my opinion, stand out on their own. Orton sort of late in his career, and he can carry a feud, and he's honestly, out of these 4, my favorite. I don't necessarily care for Bobby Roode. I thought he was going to win the match. And then Mahal and Rusev. Mahal, only was given the opportunity to sort of sell to the Indian market, and that failed. And then Rusev, as a character, I don't necessarily think there's anything behind the character other than a catchphrase which sells merchandise. I don't think there's anything to it. Other than that, I mean, he's a good wrestler. He's good in the ring, athletic, but other than that, not necessarily all that in my mind. And probably the most shocking turn of events I think of all night. I don't think anyone saw Jinder Mahal becoming United States champion, but he does. In a decision, before I actually judge the decision, I guess I just want to see where it leads to and what actually becomes of this. If it's better than his WWE Championship reign, then it was a good move. If not, then we'll see what we can make out of it. Wasn't the worst match, but definitely wasn't the best. And then we get Angle and Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie, which, in my honest opinion, I thought was the match of the night. Not that it stole the show in any means, but it's sort of, you had the high adrenaline. I think best sort of technical match in terms of high flying and wrestling was definitely the IC match. I think it delivered the way it was supposed to. But this was a match that I really came in with low expectations. I thought they would do everything in their ability to protect Ronda from looking like she has no experience. And I think they did the opposite. I figured it was a mixed tag match. They're not going to allow Ronda to touch Triple H or any of that to happen. And I was completely wrong. They allowed such things. Triple H and Ronda got into it a couple of times. The armbar to Triple H, the armbar to Stephanie. And the Ronda looked really good out there. You can tell she's been training. She's really into it. She took, and then the build up to it. She's taken chairs spot, or not chairs. She's taken some chair shot, I think, but she took that table spot on Monday, last Monday, and we always know Stephanie's willing to take these bumps, and Ronda is definitely in it for the long run, you can tell. And is willing to do everything she can to, be a full-time wrestler, not one of these part-time signings where, she made a name in another industry and only going to show up once or twice in WWE and make millions of dollars. No, she wants to actually start from the bottom and make her way. I think she'll get a title shot by the end of the year if she can just continue being, who she is, continue to grow in the ring. I think it would lead to a title spot within the next 6 to 8 months, in my opinion. And again, Ronda and Angle win. Triple H's entrance sort of disappointed me. As you can tell, I'm wearing a Triple H shirt. And he's been one of my favorites ever since, I really started watching wrestling. His WrestleMania entrances have always been a thing for me to actually look forward to as one of the better entrances in the show. But it's, to me, really disappointed. He did the whole bike thing again, like he did last year. But other than that, I honestly would think, if you had to grade this match, it definitely get an A. I would consider it match of the night just because of how, I didn't really put much expectation into this match. With Finn and the Miz, the IC match, I put a lot of expectation into. These guys got to perform. And they did. They did their job. It wasn't completely extraordinary. Nothing really. You got that double curb stomp where Seth curb stomp, I think, Finn onto, or while he was like trying to pin Miz, and then you had the coup de grace on the back of, I think it was Miz's neck or back, I think, if I can remember correctly. But being that this was the fourth match on the card, and you still had about 2 to 3 hours left after this, this really, I think, was the peak of the energy in the arena in terms of matches. I mean, you had the next, all the matches, I think the finishes were sort of predictable. I mean, Seth, you knew was probably going to win. And then we knew well, a lot of people thought Asuka was going to win. I picked Charlotte for reasons I don't really necessarily care for Asuka. And then we all sort of figured that Angle and Ronda were going to win, that Triple H and them. And I liked the way they ended the Triple H match with the armbar to Stephanie to have her tap out, and Cena could have broke her arm quotes. And, you know, that's how they're going to write Triple H and Steph off for the next couple months. So, because, you know, their honeymoon and stuff's around the corner, and they'll get to take some time off. We'll see them again, probably SummerSlam Survivor Series. And be cool to see them sort of off screen and see where Raw leads from here on out. You know, they'll be there tomorrow most likely in some way, shape, or form, and they'll sort of get written off. So next is the SmackDown Tag Titles match, triple threat, and which really wasn't all that good. You kind of knew the Bludgeon Brothers were going to win. And that's what they did. They, you know, destroyed the Usos and the New Day, and they won. There's not much to it. I wouldn't say it was the worst match of the night, by any means, but definitely really, really good. Good to see the Usos on the live actual show, not the pre-show. And then we get this sort of impromptu match. You know, Cena comes in, not really planning anything. He's like, I'm gonna be a fan, and he does. And like, I think it was after the Asuka Charlotte match, a ref runs down to where Cena was sitting, and he says something. Cena goes running past and back into the back of the ring, and everyone's like, oh, Undertaker's gonna be here. Well, then Cena's music hits here, and no one comes out, and he's starting to walk back up the ramp, and it goes dark, and then Elias comes out, and then you know, he beats up Cena, or Cena beats up Elias after, you know, he does his guitar thing. And then Cena walks up the ramp, lights go dark, and you see the lights come back on this big spotlight, and it's, excuse me, it's Taker's clothes the way he left them after 33, back in the center of the ring. And then lightning hits, and then they disappear, and then you see the smoke, and you're thinking, okay, it's gonna happen, and then the gong, and you're like, all right, it's gonna happen. So Undertaker Cena, again, not a really good match, but you know, it didn't disappoint. So I think I'm one of the only people who after 33 ended, everyone thought Undertaker retired, and for about 30 seconds, I would say a little bit longer, for about the rest of the night until I fell asleep and woke up Monday morning, I thought Undertaker was retired. I was like, well, I just saw one of the greatest stars of my generation that I grew up watching. He was done. And then Raw came, and he didn't retire. And then SmackDown came, and it wasn't technically officially he retired. You know, we did the whole thank you, take your chance, and we thought he was done, but WWE didn't officially make it. And months down the line, and then comes SummerSlam, and nothing really was official. And I've been saying since, I would say, June of 2017, Taker's going to return. Taker's going to return. He's going to return here, and this is how he can return. Doesn't happen. And I was like, well, and I told my friends, I was like, if he does return at Mania, he's done. We'll take that at its word. He's done. And so him returning today, and him really looking really good. He's in good shape for his age. I think he's like 53. I thought he looked really good. You know, he only did about a 3-4 minute match. But he made Cena look weak. Cena got squashed too by Undertaker, so what I want to see this and where I see this leading, I think a lot of people are already seeing into this. If you're a mark like I am, and we sort of think about how storylines are going to lead, maybe Taker gets a title shot, beats AJ for the title, or beats someone, AJ loses it somehow, and then Taker earns a title match, wins the title, and next year at Mania, Cena versus Taker in an actual match for the title. And Cena, if Cena wins, he gets 17 and retires. Taker has to retire. He retires. Cena breaks a record, retires Taker. Two things that I think we know are inevitable, and you can knock it out in one event. Definitely where I see this leading to. But again, really good match. Not the best match of the night at all, but something fans knew was going to happen, but we didn't know when or where or how. I was a little disappointed that Kid Rock wasn't at the show. I don't think he wasn't involved in the whole Hall of Fame introductions and at the show, and wasn't involved in Taker's entrance. I mean, this was a perfect place for American Badass Taker to return. Again, it was short, but really, really good. 3-4 minutes here of Taker coming back, and this whole. So I think the suspense of is Taker actually coming. I think they could have drawn out the story a little bit more, but still, let's see where this leads. Then you get Bryan and McMahon. So Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Owens and Zayn. If Owens and Zayn win, they're reinstated. If they lose, they're gone from SmackDown Live. Bryan's in a ring debut after 3 years of being what we thought retired and never going to be seen in a ring again. And Bryan and McMahon win, which I thought it really was a swerve to me. I figured they would win it, or that Owens and Zayn would win and get reinstated, and but it looks like they're not going to continue having them on SmackDown Live. Maybe you will see them on Raw. Who knows? Definitely a good match. Daniel Bryan had a good pop. And not the most memorable match. It's a typical Shane McMahon match. They definitely protected Daniel Bryan, which is great to see that they actually care about him. And typical Shane McMahon match. He does his coast to coast and does a couple moves like that. I think he tried like a bicycle kick or something, and like fell on his face. It's pretty cool. And then you get the Raw Women's Championship match. Alexa versus Nia. Again, sort of predictable how this was going to go. I will have to say this. A lot of people were fans of Nia's outfit. I wasn't that it didn't. I just didn't think it was physically appealing. Not that it made her look ugly or something. I mean, it's not an appearance thing for her. She's definitely a beautiful person, but I just don't think, and it's not because heavyset shouldn't wear a two-piece. I'm 100% for Nia if she wants to wearing a two-piece. Piper Niven does it, and it looks fine. I just think the see-through doesn't look well, in my opinion. But again, predictable Nia Jax wins. A good match. It told the story the way it was supposed to, and Nia was definitely a dominant force. See where this leads. It'll be interesting. You move to Styles and Nakamura, and I gotta say, I think I was right in that the match didn't deliver the hype, and I knew it wouldn't. You get a match that we saw in Wrestle Kingdom, in Japan, at the Tokyo Dome. We've seen it before, and the fans aren't going to appreciate because they're going to compare the WWE match to that match. If this was the first time they ever met, I think we would appreciate it a lot more. I just don't think it. One, you can't compare it because the Wrestle Kingdom match was better. This match to me was stale and boring. And again, I didn't want this match. A lot of people did. I don't. I didn't. I didn't see the big hype in it. I don't like Nakamura, to be honest. And then, Styles is one of these guys who I like, but at the same time, I could go without him. But Styles retains. I like that idea. Continue the story. Nakamura turns heel. It looked like with the uppercut to the groin. My favorite entrance was Nakamura's entrance though, with the live guitarist Nita Strauss. Was really good. Not the match of the night, but in my opinion, definitely not match of the night. I'm gonna go ahead and give that award to the Ronda Rousey match. I'm just gonna give Ronda Rousey as performer of the night. She outperformed what I thought she would do by 1,000%. Definitely, this deserves everything she has and deserves a chance to prove that she is what she wants to be and will be a performer for a time. And so we get the Bar versus Strowman and a mystery partner for the tag team championship. We already knew Braun Strowman was going to win it. I think it was predictable. Sheamus with his injury, and you're like, well, it's ended at WrestleMania. So Braun Strowman comes out, says, well, it's not no one in the back, it's one of the fans. And he walks through the fans and he finds this boy. He brings him. His name is, what's your name? Oh, it's Nicholas. Okay, so you're gonna go in. Strowman did most of the fighting. He tags in Nicholas. Nicholas looks at Cesaro. Cesaro's yelling at him and tags back in Braun. But it was confused look on Cesaro's face, and Strowman did the power slam and then won via pin. Definitely, to me, a waste of time. Definitely a waste of an opportunity. You could have debuted anybody in this spot. I just don't understand this booking decision. It was creative, and I like that they used kids, but again, I just thought it was a waste of an opportunity to use an actual talent. I saw the tweet that said, way to tell your tag team division that they're not needed. And I don't think that's what they did. I think they were trying to fulfill a kid's dream and make his day and, give an actual WrestleMania moment. And I like the creativity and the uniqueness of this moment. So I'm not going to completely bash it, but I think I was really dead set on having an actual debut or re-debut or return of a superstar. So I think it was set on me. Then you had the Universal title match, which, typical Brock Lesnar match. Going to get the countdown of suplexes, and Roman Reigns going to do Superman punch and spear, and then you'll have some F5s, and this to me was, I think, the shock of the night was that Lesnar actually retained. We got a couple elbow shots in, busted Roman open severely to the point I had friends saying they need to stop the match. But Lesnar wins, I think, was shocking. The fans were chanting, "This is awful," which match wasn't all that bad, but anytime Brock is in the ring, you're going to get the same type of match. And so definitely not the worst match, but definitely not the best match. And I felt, so now I'll just overview and give my overall feel. I felt this was a very the early matches in the card really sort of got all the momentum. So it was sort of like a roller coaster ride. You got all that momentum as you're gaining and you're peaking, and then you fall down, right? And you lose all that momentum. And I really feel that you gained the momentum with the IC match, and you continued it with Asuka's streak ending, which was a bit surprising to me. And then you continue it with Ronda Rousey completely overperforming what everyone, I think, thought of her and doing a really good job. There was some green moments, some botches, but it was still a very, very good match. And the spots with her and Triple H were really awesome, and you can tell that they're completely behind her. You can even say that you continue that momentum with the SmackDown Tag Team match, and but that to me was sort of like you had this momentum and now you're peaking, but then you go back up with the Shane match, and that's where you sort of reached your peak in momentum. The Nia match was predictable; no one really cared about, I don't think, and then you just sort of go down from there. And you get AJ and Shinsuke was sort of with that little hype and momentum. But, like any roller coaster, you get to the highest point and then you fall down and you can go back up. You can't ever go back up to that highest point because you lost all that momentum. And so it was sort of like a roller coaster. And AJ and Shinsuke, to me, it's not a memorable match. And it's definitely not good enough, in my opinion, to raise the momentum of the show. And then, the ending of the last two matches to me were not entertaining at all. I definitely wouldn't rate this as one of the best WrestleManias. I'd give it like a C minus rating. Definitely not worth the money that you paid to go to the show. But it's not the worst. It's not completely the worst. But I'm gonna throw it in there in the top 10 worst WrestleManias, which it leaves 24 above it at least. But I would say actually top 5 worst WrestleManias, in my opinion. I think we'll have to look back in hindsight to see the ratings of it. But here's till next year. Looking forward to WrestleMania 35 in New York City. Though technically it's in New Jersey. But looking forward to see how it builds up to then. And until then, signing off from the Outlaw Sports Network. I'm Randall Beatley, and this was my WrestleMania thoughts on the show and my review of it. Look forward to presenting a awesome 2-part series we're going to do for the NHL playoffs starting tomorrow night. It's going to probably start at 7 o'clock, and we're going to end it at 8 o'clock, if we can, right at 8. Because the next 2 nights are going to be the Raw after Mania and the SmackDown after Mania, which are probably the 2 best Raw and SmackDown, or the best Raw and the best SmackDown of the year, in my opinion. Just all the hype, and the crowd's going to be amazing. And I'll just say this. I saw tweets that there were beach balls in the crowd tonight. There's probably going to be beach balls tomorrow. I'm just going to say, if you're thinking about bringing a beach ball, please stop. Don't be an idiot. It ruins the energy. It takes away from the show. You've paid thousands of dollars to enjoy this weekend to watch wrestling, not throw a beach ball around. And so, with that said, I'll leave. This is Unhinged. I'm Randall Beatley. This is the Outlaw Sports Network. Until next time, we'll see you soon.